Hi everyone, we're going to learn state of matter in case of molecule and atoms. So all matter, we said everything in the world are matter. Okay, matters are made of mass and takes up space. So if we zoom into any matter, we're going to say those tiny particles, we call them atoms or molecules. Um, Atoms are the single ones, molecules are a few atoms connect together. So one thing is all the particles in matter are always in motion. They are always moving. We're going to go through the detail. Okay. So because the particles are moving around, so we call them contains kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy object has due to the motion of the particles. Basically, kinetic means to move. So how are we going to calculate kinetic energy? Ke is equal to half of mass times square of velocity. So the object contains more mass, has more kinetic energy, and the objects has higher velocity. I mean, the particles inside of it has higher velocity, would have higher energy. So in case of solid and the liquid and gas, let's have a look in the terms of kinetic energy. Okay? For any solids, the atoms are packed together in a fixed shape, and they're vibrating in a very slow motion. So the kinetic energy for solid is very low, and for liquid, the atoms or the molecules are moving around in a higher speed than solid, so it has more kinetic energy. And then if we keep on heating it up, it will receive more energy and eventually become to gas. In the gas state, the molecules are moving around very fast, so it has the highest kinetic energy. So to summarize, solid has the least energy, liquid has more, and gas has the most energy. Okay, so how are we going to measure kinetic energy? Actually, temperature is the measure of the kinetic energy of the particles in the object. We take a measurement of temperature. The higher of the temperature, the more of kinetic energy that tell us the particles inside the object is moving faster. That's why the temperature increase. Okay, so when heat is added to a state of matter, the atoms begin to move faster, the particles would contain more kinetic energy, and then the temperature increases. So that's when we call it hot or cold. For the cold one, the particles are moving slowly. The hot ones, the particles are moving faster. Okay, so phase can change. Okay, state of matter can change from solid to liquid and to gas. We are having snow for this couple of days. So snow is basically solid, right? When it melts, it becomes to water, liquid, right? And for liquid water, it can evaporate. We call evaporation. It can eventually disappear, so it goes to become to water vapor, right? So solid to liquid is called melting. We need to give it energy to melt it. And then liquid to gas, it's again receive more energy, evaporation process become to gas. Okay, gas can come back, become to liquid. We call this process a condensation process. It's like the rain we have, right? And the water can liquid can also freeze, become to solid. Okay, there are two other process. One is called sublimation. Sublimation is a process from solid directly become to gas. It does not go through the liquid process. A very typical example is dry ice. Not sure if you ever played with it. So for dry ice, it's basically carbon dioxide, solid carbon dioxide. It can change to gas. People use it during Halloween. Okay, and for gas, it can become to solid. We call it deposition. Basically snow is a process from gas direct water vapor directly become to solid. Also, in the cold winter, you can see some solid stuff on your window. the car window, that's basically deposition process. Okay, for those processes to change, we need to either give energy, pull in energy to increase the kinetic energy from solid to liquid, from liquid to gas, or to remove energy from gas become to liquid, or liquid to solid, or gas to solid. Those are the process we need to remove energy. Okay, so for those process, we call them differently. Okay, there's a new vocabulary for you called endothermic. Endothermic, endo means in. Think about it. It needs to absorb energy. Okay, endothermic process means we need to put heat in it, put more energy. Heat basically is type of energy. Okay, it's called endothermic. It's absorbing energy. Okay, so three processes: melting, evaporation, and sublimation. Those are the processes we need to add in more energy: melting, evaporation, sublimation. Okay. And for the other process is exothermic. Exo, think about come out. Okay, the release of energy. It will give off energy. Okay, so like the freezing process, condensation process, and deposition process. So from like the particles are moving faster to slower, it release some energy. Okay, so to summarize, all matter are made of particles. The particles are in constantly motion. And the energy, because of motion, we call it kinetic energy. And how do we measure kinetic energy? We use temperature. Temperature is the measure of the amount of kinetic energy for any object. So state of matter can change while the energy changes. It can either release energy, we call it exothermic, or it would absorb energy. We call those endothermic. Thank you. Hope you're staying warm.